viewers, and a happy Friday afternoon to all of you wonderful people around the world. Look at all these gorgeous people who've come and said hello to us on this afternoon. It's lagging, updating to see everybody. Unbelievable. I've had such an extraordinary week. We have delved deep into Guild Wars 2's first expansion, the Heart of Thorns. Guard duty has been pulled by so many in order to betwixt this dragon and put it to death. Why don't just burn it? I have no idea. Capcom saw fit to furnish us with a very early access to Resident Evil 4. We'll be playing a bit of that tomorrow, because tomorrow evening we'll be having a cooking stream. One of our sub-goal incentives after watching Gordon Ramsay put together his famous beef Wellington. I reckon I could do better. And we'll be doing that tomorrow. We'll be doing that tomorrow with some Resident Evil while it cooks, is what's going to happen. As once again, my wonderful family is leaving me tomorrow, so I'm lonely again. Lonely! To go and do horse shit. I don't know. They're doing some fucking crap with horses. I don't know. It's one of those things. So it's been a very, very enjoyable week. Very full as always. We will have updates for you on what has been dubbed Preach Fest. I don't particularly like calling it that because it's more of a get-together party. But we did get contacted by our venue that we wanted to go at, just a gaming bar, not in a particularly affluent area either. We wanted £8,500 to host us for one night. So we'll be going somewhere else. So we'll be going somewhere else. We won't be going there. That's not going to happen. You guys don't mind paying. It only holds 100 people, so 850 larger ticket. You guys fine with that? That sounds good, right? That sounds to be good. I don't know. But it is what it is. I don't understand, but it is what those people are about. It is what those people are about. I don't think the math checks out. Yeah, you know, £85, whatever. You'll be fine. That's still reasonable, right? Quick math, dude. Quick math. Right! That's not why you're here right now. That's not why you're here right now. We have people sending us wonderful tales of their internet journeys and the crazy, weird, and wonderful people they find with the power of anonymity by hiding behind this. That's all they do, is they conceal themselves thusly and therefore turn into absolute troglodytes for the most part and degenerate souls. I am guilty of this. I have done it myself. It is the power of anonymity, but it doesn't really work for me anymore. But it used to. It used to. And people send them into a wonderful email, drama@preachgaming.com, where our lovely Bex will go through them and pick what she feels is the best of the best to share with you. From across multiple MMOs, we've had Guild Wars 2, World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy, we had RuneScape, Pirate MMO, all sorts of crazy stuff. And I've got lovely tales in front of me to share with you to finish out this week before I get bombarded by children, because there's a sleepover at my house tonight. Great. Wonderful. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. What's the average time to beat a Final Fantasy dungeon? Many of you have taken part in them in our little journey. The average time to complete. FF dungeon. Time to finish. 15 minutes. 15 minutes. Idiots. All of you. Absolute clowns. 1 hour. I don't even know how this is possible. There's only like 8 trash packs in a Final Fantasy dungeon. I have no fucking idea what's about to happen. I have played a lot of FF now, and I have never seen anything like this. I've pugged a hell of a lot as well. I've pugged a hell of a lot of my dungeons, and yeah. Okay, so we have Berrylol, who will be our white mage. Chan, who shall be our dragoon. I think that explains the length of the dungeon. And Zuzi, who shall be our bard for this journey that we're about to go on together. The unknowable, unmistakable. So we'll see. We'll see. All right. 3, 2, 1. Hello, Mike. No hello to the audience. I hope you're not asking us to render judgment, because you're already off to a bad start by not saying hello. Yeah, you guys got fucking shined. In the UK, we call that getting pied, dudes. I'm sorry. I hope you and the people of chat are okay, and that this story reaches you well. It does. We've had a tremendous week. I am someone who hails from the land of Canada. Well, aren't you supposed to be polite? Where was the hello? right up there, riding around in your fucking moose, spraying syrup everywhere, because that's what we know you guys do up in Canada. Eating poutine. We know what you're doing. Every single year I've lived here since I was born. It has snowed in the middle of April despite not being cold. Okay. I unfortunately only stumbled upon you last year or so. That's alright. We've been here and we will be here. But I have enjoyed your content and figured your insights to be, well, insightful and well-spoken. Ha! All you guys who oi me every time I speak. Water. I can say it properly. Water. See? Well-spoken. As told by a Canadian. Alright? Get your shit together. I come to you with a little tale from FF14. It's not necessarily a mega drama, but an encounter. A situation that sticks with me and burns into my memory like a coin covered in lava sinking into my brain. Jesus Christ. It was the encounter I had regarding a Shadowbringers dungeon that took, as far as I know, over an hour to complete. Okay. I hope everyone is able to enjoy my tale. As I wrote 3,500 words the first time, and my writing software crashed and I couldn't recover it. F. So you're not using Word or Google Docs? I mean, that saves it. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. Okay. Because this pertains to Shadowbringers, my absolute favorite story I have ever had the pleasure of being a part of, no matter how late I came to that story, same, I would like to warn that this in regards to an important dungeon that is the best in the entire game. I'm of course being facetious. Everyone knows that Copperbell Mines pre-work is actually the pinnacle of dungeon design. Agreed. Agreed. The new one is too easy. The new one is just like, it's too flowy. It doesn't get in the way. It doesn't frustrate me like a dungeon should. That's the problem. I'll try and focus only on the gameplay and the boss fights, because a lot of the issues here were two players who were, in the politest words I can say, not the best, and one player who had something above their heads which dictated their performance. That green sprout. It's not their fault. I'm not blaming them. But it was definitely a factor. Definitely. Salute? Oh, God. No, salute. I hope to take you on an adventure, my friends. On an adventure that nearly made me rage quit a dungeon in Final Fantasy, which might have had me ostracized from the community. Rage quitting? I didn't even know it was possible to rage quit an FF dungeon. I did not know it was even possible. First, I need to give you context to this tale we're going on, my friends. This first happened a few weeks, maybe at least 2 or 3 weeks after I had completed Endwalker, which puts this early mid 6.0. I had finished the story first as a red mage, and to have something to do, I set about leveling every single other job to 90. Or 70, in Blue Mage's case. As my friend grabbed me one day on a whim, a day before a flight he had, and forcefully leveled me from 1 to 70 into the span of 4 hours. How do you power level someone in FF? I'm just curious. Like, no reason. I'm just interested. How does that happen? Oh, on blue. Only for blue. Wow. That's good knowledge to have. That's good knowledge. Okay. Okay. Only for blue. I had finished leveling the healers before, so I went on to the tanks next. At this point in time, I had just finished getting Warrior to 90 and was working on the Gunbreaker. I think I had also gotten the Paladin tonight before this, but it's neither here nor there. As well, during this time, I was struggling in real life. I couldn't sleep, so I find myself staying up super late into the night with nothing to do. So, what else should I do suffering from insomnia? I queued up for Amarot. Just to have something to do because I was bored and restless and my mind would not rest. As well, I thought Amarot would be a decent practice because I was just barely 82 on my Gunbreaker at the time, and a lot of Amarot's packs hit relatively hard. I don't remember the Amarot dungeon. Sorry. I love Amarot. I do. Amarot was like a magical experience for me. I do not remember the dungeon though. Is it where you go through the three... Is it the End of Days ones where you travel through the 3 different time periods? I probably do if I saw it. So it is that. It is that one. Okay, so I do know the dungeon. All right, cool. All right. I wasn't sure we called it Amarok. That's all right. No, it's the last Shadowbringers one. It's one where the world is on fire. Is it where there's like a big bomb at the end? I remember the cutscene with the city on fire. I remember Vanar walking through it. You're above the world. Yeah, I'd have to watch it. I know if I was inside it, I'd remember it. I would. There's a lot of dungeons in FF. Amarok is my favorite dungeon because of its place in the lore and because, of course, Emmett Selk is the most favorite character in all of Final Fantasy XIV. The other thing is, too, being that on Amarok drops the Shoebill minion. And that sells, baby, for more than 2 million on the market board. So I thought, maybe if Shoebill drops, that'll be a nice bit of cash in the pocket. And I get to play Amarok as well. What a winner. I'd gotten into Amarok after a shockingly low wait time, which was a pleasant surprise, but still a surprise nonetheless. I queue in, and our party is made up of me, rocking the Gunbreaker, doing the tanking, a white mage healer called Buralal, a bard called Zuzi, and a dragoon called Chan. I see that we have a Sprout in our party, currently watching the cutscene, as we also have the Wondrous Tales pop up, and the white mage, who is the Sprout, oh, Sprout healer, also then says after the cutscene that, hey, they are new, this is their first time in this dungeon. Okay. All right, we're okay. We got it's fine. We got a Sprout healer. It's all good. If they've been healing up until like level 80, they should be fine. Should be fine, right? You have more than enough tools. Later on, I had checked, but neither Zuzi or Chan were new. Chan was leveling an alt job, but definitely had 1 or 2 level 90s. Zuzi, I think, was over level 80. I want to say they were around 86, and definitely revealed later on that they were not new to Final Fantasy XIV. Now, of course, Buralal is new. Chan says hello, and I do what we do and go and pull the first pack. Our white mage is doing a lovely job as I do a big pull, keeping me alive while also holy spamming like a boss. The bulls are taking a bit to die, as I'm pretty sure I'm running low on cooldowns. Again, though, it's not a big deal. We're progressing. Things are dying. We're moving along. But then we got to the first boss. Right, I need to see a picture of the dungeon. I need to get some context for this. Hold on. Right, there's a guide here. Hold on. I need to remember. All right, switching. Yeah, we know what's going on here. Okay, it was just through the city. Is this the first boss? Slug Boy? Yeah, because they were creating all the foul beasts from nightmares, weren't they? Yep, I remember this. So we get Sluggy Boy. Some more trash. Then we get the big pigeon. I would say I've probably only done this dungeon potentially once. Yeah, and then we fight across the world. I would guess I've probably done this dungeon once. Okay, I have some memories of it, but I think I've done it only once compared to the others. And then we have a runaway. Nothing pretty special. Okay, looks fine. All right, let's swap back over to here. No, I haven't done it many times. I think I probably did it once during the story. Okay. Where are we? The polls are taking a bit to die, but it's no big deal. Now, as a small refresher for those who may not remember Amarok that well or have not played FF14, very nice of you, the first boss has 2 different insta-kill mechanics. Though I think one is maybe survivable as a tank, maybe. The first one is that he chooses players to drop meteors, to which he afterwards does an arena-wide AoE that is an instant kill if you do not hide behind the meteors that have been dropped. Think Behemoth or Ammon from the Crystal Tower raids. Same thing. Make some blocks, you hide behind them. The second mechanic is one that covers 75% of the arena, and you have to run to the 25% that is not covered up to survive being crushed by falling buildings. Okay. I would say this fight went well for the first 21 seconds. People got the meteors. And Chan, I remember, drops one on top of the boss. The boss moves to cast its arena-wide AoE, and both me and Chan hide behind the rock near the boss. Burial All, being a new sprout, ends up screwing it up and dies, which is not surprising. Fair enough. Zuzi dies as well, though, because what happens is that neither of them decided to hide behind a meteor. Chan ends up ignoring the next insta-kill mechanic because of DPS. It's the Dragoon, right? Chan's the Dragoon, yeah. And does his backflip too late and ends up dying. We are only a minute into the boss, and I am the only one left standing. I die to try and reset because as a Gunbreaker, Aurora is my only sustain at level 80 besides my shell combo, and we wipe to the first boss. Me and Chan decide to be what is expected of us in the Final Fantasy XIV community. We begin explaining the boss to the people who might not understand it. Me and Chan explain what to do. When Burial All asks, can we say that again after we just explained it? Oh no. But it's written though. Just scroll up, right? Yeah, this is bad. This is bad. We pull again. Both Zuzi and Burial All die the exact same way again. Chan dies to AoE because he is collecting vuln stacks like you, Mike. That's unnecessary. You are not from Canada. There is no way. There's a lot of telltale red flags here that you may not be Canadian. I'm just saying. There's a lot of flags here that suggest to me that you might be full of crap. Just saying. We used melee LB1 this fight and lose it. I die again, and we wipe the second time on boss number 1. Before the third pull, we ask Zuzi and Burial All if you now understand what's happening. They both say yes. They both die the exact same way again. Yep. Got it. I understand. Don't you? It's the worst thing. It's the absolute worst thing. It's like everybody clear what we're doing, and then everybody just goes like ants everywhere. Just scatters across the food as if it's a fucking old ice cream on the floor. Just thankfully, they die near the end. And me and Chan get the last few percentages of HP down, and we kill the first boss on our third attempt. Now, I should say, Chan did die before the boss actually died, and I solo the last couple of percent. Zuzi then starts complaining that the boss is too hard. Oh, no. No, man. It's not the game's fault, dude. It's not. No, don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. No. No, don't be that guy. You're the reason that half the world's playing fucking Roblox, man. Don't be that guy. This actually exasperated me. The entire point of this boss is really easy. Move out of bad and hide. That's it. Well, I guess people can forget. It's fine. Or it would have been fine if it wasn't for the fact that me and Chan had explained how to do this boss 3 times already. Whatever. We got past it. It'll be fine for the rest of the dungeon. I go on to pull the next few packs, and we get LB1 again because of how long it takes to get to the second boss. Jesus Christ. Another refresher, just in case anyone needs it, because I know I often have bad memory. The second boss spawns waves of ads. Then the boss itself spawns into cast what I believe is an instant kill mechanic. That's a DPS check if you do not kill it before the cast finishes. It's not a great boss in my opinion, but it is what it is, and the DPS check isn't exactly severe. We have no wipes. Okay, so if we're going off the clock here, you can't have been in this dungeon for more than 20 minutes at this point. They wiped twice to the first boss, and no wipes on the second boss, so 20 minutes. Thankfully, we do not wipe. Though we do have a near wipe because the boss is at least 70% done with its cast. Zuzi also uses the line AoE LB1 on the boss instead of hard hitting the ads. which I personally found really funny. Just solo AoE LB the boss. Ignore the ads. Fuck it. DPS! Woo! Really? The only issue is on the second boss is that it spawns untankable mobs that appeared in the dungeon before the second boss. And I have even explained that I literally cannot tank them because they focus a player and chase after them. Not that this doesn't stop the Sprout complaining that I might be a bad tank. Oh, God. That's his takeaway from this dungeon. Yeah, I did hammer up with this group, right? They were fucking wiped like 3 times on the first boss. Second boss was a nightmare. Ads weren't being tanked. It was just unfucking believable, mate. You wouldn't believe these people that I was doing this dungeon with. I've done loads of dungeons while I've been leveling up, and I've never seen anything like that. Garbage players, dude. Garbage players. The Tethers mob spawned, and Zuzi would run away from me. Burial All would run to me, so I just decided to stay still. Oh, Burial All's a WoW player. Got aggro, run to the tank. So I just decided to stay still instead of griefing my team. Now, it's at this point, guys, that I become especially aware that Zuzi is not new to the game. As she and Chan start talking about how hard the second boss used to be when it was current content. Oh, no. Oh, no. It was harder back in Shadowbringers, mate. Yeah. You know what I mean? You thought this was hard, right? But it was harder back in Shadowbringers, mate. It was way harder. Yeah, it was fucking well harder back in the day. You don't even know, mate. You don't even fucking know. You weren't there, dude. You weren't there. You didn't see. You didn't see. Yeah, I've been through some shit. They were explaining to us how it was extremely punishing to meet the DPS check. But ignoring whether or not that was true, because I don't know. I started during Endwalker. It does mean that they were aware of how the fight works. So why were they dying on the first boss? Good question. Of course, it doesn't really mean anything. Current content Shadowbringers was a hell of a long time ago, all things considering. And if you're a returning player to FF, you might not remember stuff that well. Oh, you're so forgiving. You're so forgiving. I know when I come back to a game after a while, I momentarily turn into an amnesiac who doesn't know left from right. So maybe that's what happened. Maybe. But what was frustrating, even if I probably shouldn't feel this way, and I could use your judgment and the court's judgment on this, was that Zuzi would not listen to explanations on boss fights. And honestly, Zuzi is one of the main reasons as to why the last boss turned from a fairly mundane fight into one of my nightmares. I think that's fair to be frustrated. If you have explained something, they clearly speak English, they're acknowledging you, and they still just don't do it. I think that's fair. I think that's fair. I mean, Jesus Christ, it's FF. In most cases, you could just follow the group and you'll be fine. They turned the last boss into a savage boss, in my opinion, with the amount of wipes we had on it. If you're wondering why I don't say the same about Burial All, it's because he's a Sprout. And he clearly was listening to instruction, even if he couldn't follow that instruction. Oh. But I am getting ahead of myself and spoilering. Let's get onto it then. I go to pull. The last 2 big pulls hitting the hardest because out of the entire dungeon due to the new enemies they bring in. Burial All is still doing their best, healing me as best they can while holy spamming whenever they could, glare spamming whenever they could, playing actually pretty correctly. Every single pull takes forever to die, which is a bit of a problem when everything hits very hard. Or maybe I was just undergeared. Maybe it was my fault. Maybe I was unprepared at the time. I don't know. But we cleared it, we killed it, and then we stand in front of the final boss. And I think whatever patience I had come into this dungeon with at this late hour, with the restlessness I felt before I started, had died. Mike, audience, I must tell you, I beg you, as gently as I can, please forgive me for the feeling of intense disappointment and hopelessness, because I'm pretty sure the final count for the amount of wipes on the last boss was greater than 12. And it's the reason that I spent more than an hour in a single FF dungeon. So at least 12 wipes here. And people still couldn't figure out what was going on. Jesus Christ, man. Jesus Christ. We're progging extremes here. I take the penalty. I mean, yeah, at some point you're like, this is not... I could have done like 4 dungeons in this time. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the worst FF14 experience I have ever had up until 6.2. Where I started playing Black Mage and got nothing but terrible luck in the duty finder. I like to share my always terrible Black Mage experiences with my friends because it makes them laugh, and it only happens when I play Black Mage. But don't let me get sidetracked. As I said, we moved to that final boss. My patience was dead and had died as long and slow agonizing death at that point. And I do start questioning what your audience is probably saying. Why didn't I just leave ages ago? But this is FF14, and we do not leave our friends behind. Oh, we do. Yeah, don't buy into that. No, don't buy into that. You've got to know when to cut your losses in any game. You have to know when to cut your losses. You've got to. It's not as brutal as WoW, for sure, but yeah, don't let this, like, everybody's huggy smiley, jerking each other off, doing a double Dutch rudder in FF14 get in the way of the fact that if you're just wasting your own life, that's not worth it. I stayed, I believe, because I'm an idiot who was behaving no different than a zombie. Now, I will say this, and this is only my personal opinion. I think that the final boss of Amarok is not a good boss. It has no telegraphs on when it does its AoEs, unlike other bosses that give a nice telegraph either immediately after the cast or before the ability is about to finish. There is nothing in that fight to help you react to AoEs properly. The AoE happens first and you're forced to take the damage. Then you move. There's also an arena-wide AoE, which, even though not an instant kill, has a kind of counterintuitive way of dealing with it, which is that you go to the tiny platforms to the side. I need to see this boss again. I can't remember it clearly enough. Of course, I could be wrong, and this is a good boss, but I personally just don't like it. The final mechanic, the arena-wide AoE, became the bane of my existence. There was 40 minutes left to Amarok when we finished. Amarok typically has a long timer, like most of the other dungeons. And I want to say that even though I say the dungeon run took an hour, I'm pretty sure it was close to 80 minutes because I believe Amarok has a 120-minute start. As you can guess, Buralol ends up dying because they don't instantly understand how to do it, which again is a sprout. It's understandable. It's fine. Being new is fine. As you probably expected, Zuzi also dies to the exact same thing that Buralol dies to, and actually dies the same time as Buralol does. Chan just ends up dying to raw damage with a lack of healing, and I jump off, given that I am not going to try and solo a boss that is pretty much still full HP. Buralol very politely asks us, how do we deal with this mechanic? Good. Chan and I explain it as best we can. On the next pull, Buralol does the arena-wide AoE mechanic correctly. Big thumbs up for our Sprout friend. He's able to find a side platform, runs to it, waits the AoE out. Zuzi doesn't give a flying fuck. Proceeds to run in circles on the platform instead of running to the side, and obviously dies. Now, I'm not really paying attention to what Buralol is specifically doing, but I do notice that they end up dying at some point, constantly. If I remember correctly, Mike, what happens is that after you do this mechanic, the platforms disintegrate because the boss starts relocating a little after. And from what I understand at the time is that Buralol, feeling that he was safe on one of these side platforms, just decides to stay there. Hey, it's safe. Why? Look, guys. If it's safe at the sides, why don't we just stay at the sides? Think about it, yeah? Think about it. If it's safe over here, then we just stay here, right? It's so easy. After our second wipe, Zuzi would always die the exact same way, despite having been repeatedly told what to do. I'm pretty sure I saw Burial rescue Zuzi several times, and then Zuzi would run away from where he had been rescued to. Don't grip me. Don't grip me. I dare you. To answer any of the questions you might be wondering, no. Even in all the wipes, Zuzi never did the mechanic correctly. Even if we rezzed him, Zuzi would still not go to the platforms. And Zuzi complained endlessly between each pull that this boss was clearly way too hard. We wipe a few more times, which we, Chan and I, continuously try to explain politely, patiently, what to do. And you can't just stand out on the platforms, they'll disappear. Burial All, at about wipe 6 or 7, realizes what he's doing wrong and says, okay. But we wipes again. This time, he ran onto the platform, ran off the platform and it despawned, but didn't run back to it on the next time the mechanic happened. Wait, we have to do this twice in one fight? What do you want? Yeah, just I'll leave him on the floor. I'll sort him out. Just close the door, yeah? All right. I'll be out soon. It does not, unfortunately, get any better. We wipe again in the next pull after Burial All acknowledges that they're doing it wrong. We wipe again and again and again. So I try a different approach. Perhaps I'm missing something. Perhaps I'm explaining a mechanic he's doing correctly. I go, Burial All, my sproutish friend. What's killing you, my friend? Is something wrong? You're dying a lot, yet you seem to know what's supposed to do. So Burial All, what is it? Nothing. And then Burial All dies after Zuzi does. By falling through the platform. It turns out, Mike, and I also witnessed this with my own 2 eyes that I wish were blind sometimes, that the reason as to why we wiped at least 4 more times is because, and the healer admitted it himself, bless his scantily clad sproutish heart, I'm not falling through the platforms, I keep just walking off the platform. XD, my bad. I understand how the mechanic works. That hurts. No, you're not. No, dudes, chill. No, I know how the fight works. What you don't understand is that I'm throwing myself to my death. I'm not standing on the disappearing platforms. I know what to do. The AoE comes, I go on the platform, the AoE goes off, I come back off the platform. I get it. What you're not understanding, though, is that I'm literally just throwing myself off space, essentially. It's what's actually happening. I only realized this when I told him to follow me. So we all stood on a platform together, and I watched Burial All just walk off the platform to his death. I'm still not going to leave. At this point, stubbornness has kicked in. I now start to believe that I can get them through this. I could do it. We go again. We see the second arena-wide AoE. And they were at the cracked platforms now, where if you stand, the cracked platforms, they'll break. You will fall and you will die. Zuzi has been rezzed twice at this point, but he's on his feet. Burial All goes to a side platform. And instantly goes to the side platform that is broken. And dies. Now, in all fairness, we hadn't made it very far into the fight in order to explain this other mechanic to him. So, technically, I guess not his fault. So Chan and I briefly explained that you need to pay attention that some of the platforms are broken and other ones aren't. I'm pretty sure we don't even give Burial a chance to ask the question. We just explain it at this point. We wipe a couple more times to the cracked platforms, and eventually, Burial says, I can't see where the platforms are. And this entire time, he'd been guessing where to go. What does that even mean? I asked them as a joke. I really wasn't being serious when I said this. Do you want me to put markers down? They say yes. So, I have to actually put raid markers where the platforms are. Even though it isn't going to help because the boss will eventually move and the platforms will be spawning in different places. Though the rough positioning will be the same, right? Whatever. I didn't even argue because I couldn't even understand what he was saying, and I put the markers down. I even put a marker on my head because Chan suggested it and Burial vehemently agreed that that would help. There was also a pull where I said that we could use melee LB2 at the end to kill the boss faster, but Chan uses it on the pull. And so we wipe and lose it. Nice. Did you say limit break? Oh! Boom, baby! Oh, sorry. Hey, look, if you say limit break, if I see LB in the chat, I'm fucking pushing that button, baby. Whoop, whoop, red alert. Red alert, let's do it. Egg on my face for bringing it up, Mike. Egg on my face. If you're wondering if the marker above my head worked, it did not. So don't ask me why. It would not have helped anyway. We do one final... Don't tell me you left the dungeon. No. We do one final pull. Or maybe we wipe first and do another final pull. Whichever one it was, we did a final pull eventually. I can't tell you, but we did do eventually a final pull. We pull, we get the boss down to, I think, 10%. Zuzi has died more than 2 times at this point. And after they got res, they do a physical ranged LB1 and then die after casting it. Nice. I don't even know why. I just want this to be over with. I think I had lost faith in humanity for a second. Zuzi dies before the boss gets to 10%. Burial starts rezzing. They're on a platform. The platform falls. They die. Both Burial and Zuzi are dead. Chan and I are living, though. We're living. I'm sure Chan was playing their goddamn Dragoony heart out. I watch him slowly die from AoE damage. I am the final person standing, and the boss dies. Yes. I see the shoe bill drop. I jokingly, but also kind of seriously after what I've been through, ask if I could have it. I've been after it for a while. Need that. Someone who isn't me gets it, and I'm kind of fucking upset. It made me feel that I'm upset that there is 40 minutes left when the boss dies. They didn't give me a commendation. Oh, that's cold. That's cold. That's really cold. That is ice cold. Oh my god. Didn't even get a commendation. Bro. That's icy. That is fucking icy. I swear to you, I am not salty about this. Honest. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Please send my well wishes to the family and chat. Hopefully I'll remember more harmless stories like this one to send for the pleasure and perusal of your chat. Well. Good God. Good God. That is pretty rough. That's pretty rough. I actually think the lack of commendation is the worst part of the tale. I really do. The lack of commendation is nasty. So you know the 2 friends who are probably friends, Zuzi and Chan, gave a commendation to each other. And the Sprout didn't give anybody a commendation. That's what went on there. That's what went on there. Right. Nothing... What? Boy, no. Sorry, wrong. Mascot. There it is. Correct. Got it. Nailed it. Yes, if you want your name in Drama Time, it is our website supporters that get their names into Drama Time for supporting the show and our YouTube channel. Appreciate it a great deal. They're wonderful people. Is this a story about Ross? I don't know. Usually when someone's declared the mascot, it's because they're horrific. It's because they're bad people. Okay. Walladoo will be our star for today. Hello there, preacher! No hello for you guys again. Audience, I believe you may have pissed off our authors. And you may want to rethink calling people guilty the second they start the story. You see, this is unacceptable. You're all spamming guilty. This is why you're no longer getting any hellos. Yep. Yep. This is why usually they try and butter you guys up. But clearly, they don't give a fuck anymore. I started listening to drama quite some time ago and decided that I was also like to share with you one of my tales. Please keep in mind, when this story took place, I was 14. Guilty. Guilty as fuck. Guilty. You are instantly guilty. 14-year-old gamers, fuck off. You're not welcome. Instantly guilty. I still had what you would describe as mush for a brain. Okay. The year, ladies and gentlemen, is 2007. The Burning Crusade had just launched. All right, we're over in World of Warcraft. I somehow managed to persuade my parents into buying me WoW. And through some shady chore contracts, they also agreed to pay for the subscription. What were the shady chore? Like doing chores? Is that what you consider shady? Contributing to the household? My kids have chores. They're 7 and 9. They have chores. Shady chores. Oh, yeah. What did you have to do? Clean the pots? Ooh. Pick up after yourself? But they agreed to pay for my subscription. I was not a very social kid. Hey, none of us were. And the concept of the internet was kind of new to me. I suspected it was full of pedophiles. Just everywhere. Just as far as the eye can see. Just no matter what it is on the internet, they're all pedophiles, every single one. But none of that is a good enough excuse for what an absolute piece of shit I was. Oh, you are guilty. Oh, excellent. They are guilty. But I will get to that. First, let's see the thought process that happened inside my head during character creation. Oh, God. All right. Guys, live audience. Sorry, Google listeners and Apple listeners and Spotify listeners. You can't play. 14-year-old World of Warcraft. What are we making? What are we making? I go to Legolas Hunter straight away. I made the Legolas Hunter. That was my first one, was the Night Elf Hunter. That's what I made. Let's talk through the thought process. I don't think anybody's got it, actually. Yeah, no one's really got it. And I'm curious as to... I haven't read on as to why they chose this, but people are way off the mark in the chat, as am I. My thought process was like this. What should I play? Why are there so many options to choose from? I definitely want to do some DPS and just dunk on noobs and frag some people. We do not say frag in MMOs. We don't do that. We're not scoring frags in MMOs, right? We're not doing that. Jesus Christ. That immediate reaction to the word frag. Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm not playing with you. I'm not. If you say frag, I'm not playing. I'm out. I'm leaving the group. This kid just said frag. I'm leaving. Why have they made so many classes? I want something tough that screams danger when everybody sees it. Okay, World of Warcraft, something that screams danger when people see it. I would have thought rogue or warrior. They're choosing Tauren Druid. The cuddliest class in the game. Yes, I know, Mike. It's not the best choice to meet my criteria. And I have no idea why I thought that a druid would scare anybody. But I did choose it. Look, this is a confession. This guy's getting some stuff off his chest, all right? We all made mistakes when we were younger, okay? I had frosted tips at one point. We've all been there, all right? So don't you judge. Don't act like you were all perfect 14-year-olds and shit, all mature, sat there reading your fucking paper with your pipe. Oh, yeah, I think I'll play as Tauren Druid. Let's not pretend that. To make it even worse, I had heard one of my friends talk about a laser chicken. And it sounded badass. I was going to play a balanced druid. Alright. Missed the irony of why it was called laser chicken then. Missed out on the irony of that one. Okay. It's a TBC balanced druid, everybody. Hide your wives. Yeah? Hide your wives. It's a TBC balanced druid. Everyone who remembers the Burning Crusade probably knows that this spec was a joke and a meme, which is probably why it ended up being called Laser Chicken. I'm not sure why, but I never saw anybody else playing Balanced Druid. Mod check, Balanced Druids? Even Blizzard did not anticipate anyone actually playing it, as there was almost no leather spell damage gear to be found. Which meant that I became the #1 enemy of other cloth casters. Oh my god, you're yoinking all the cloth. He's yoinking all the cloth. Oh my god, there's a fucking balanced druid in my dungeon that is yoinking all the cloth. I bet this is Tettles. It probably is. This is probably Tettles' life story. He's finally getting it off his chest. As I dig that sweet level 70... I naturally began looking for a guild. If you're going to find a guild that's going to accept a balanced druid. Alright. I found one pretty quickly. In fact, it was so quick, I saw it as soon as I entered Shatrath. Oh, it must be a good guild. Someone who was vigorously spamming looking for new guildies in trade chat. And I thought, perfect, that's what I need. It's like a match made in heaven. Oh, God, it's like love at first sight, baby. It's like love at first... He needs guild members. I'm looking for a guild. Lock and load, baby. Lock and load. We're going together. I did not put any more thought into this process, as I had no idea it could even go wrong. A guild is probably full of like-minded gamers seeking a goal. Yeah. I mean, it should be. That's the idea behind it. But, you know, whatever. Do what you gotta do. It's all good. It's what it should be. But in hindsight, I think I was fairly lucky to not end up in a total swamp of a guild. I was greeted warmly and everything was looking so incredibly bright. After all, they were professionals. They had a website. Yeah, that's what it is. Did they have a forum too? Where you could post your thoughts, communicate with members of the guild outside of the game. Pretty wild stuff. Pretty wild stuff. Definitely one of the top 10 in the world. Pretty sure we'll all agree. I even noticed that their website had sign up for raids and a DKP system that I did not understand. But now I was in a guild, I was going to get epics. That's all it takes. Just walk into Shatrath, strolling, fucking sunglasses on, looking for a guild, got my guild, got a website, epics. A to B, baby. A to B. I immediately started signing up for all their raids. The first one I signed up for was Gruul's Lair. Because I thought, fuck it, I'm going for it. It was a pretty standard raid. We wiped a lot on the first boss, and people started swearing in the G chat. Specifically at me. Oh, God. All right, TBC players who played TBC Classic, why are they raging at this fucking cloth-geared Moonkin? What's he doing? On Lord, what was it called? Lord Mulgar? Mulgar? Some shit like that. Come on. What's he doing? It's something all these Moonkins were fucking guilty of. Breaking Poly? Ooh, no. Pulled aggro. There it is. Yeah, Moonkins were really good DPS for about 30 seconds. Sick. They were actually pretty good at Mulgar, if you used them correctly. They couldn't be polyed. They could tank the mage. Okay. I had never heard of the word threat. But now people were swearing at me and using the word threat a lot. I thought they were threatening me. Are you threatening me? Why do you keep saying threat? Is this a threat? Am I a threat? Are you a threat? Who's a threat? Is he a threat? What do you mean? Why do you keep saying fucking threat? Is threat guy? Is there somebody here? I'm checking the raid frames. Is there a threat guy? I knew how my class worked. I had read about it. So naturally, I would tab target all the mobs to put dots on them all. After all, my gear was pretty crappy, so I needed to boost my damage as much as possible. That's right. That's what you do. You have the best mindset, right? Look, yo, my gear is shit, dude. I need to pad out the DPS. You know what I mean? I've got to pump those numbers up as much as possible. At this point in time, I would be educated that it could actually get me in a lot of trouble. Now, there we were, standing in front of this large opening to some absolutely massive creature. I remember when I first walked in, saw the size of Gruul and thought, whoa, this game is fucking serious. I guess we all have some nostalgic memories of our old gaming times, and this is one of mine. The very first fight with Gruul himself. Is this pre-nerf shatter? Are you going to blow everybody up? The fight went pretty well. I died several times in the trash packs because of aggro. Standard for Gruul. So I decided to leave some breathing room for the tank to generate aggro before I would unleash my Moonkin Fury on him. Around this time, I was introduced to something called boss mechanics. Gruul did not look like a mechanic to me, but I quickly understood. Oh, mechanic. Doesn't look like a mechanic. But I quickly understood that this is what we called the abilities the boss did. That's outrageous. Oh, Jesus Christ. Mechanic? We got a wrench or nothing. I guess I should point out here why they hadn't kicked me. Looking back at it, I can tell you that the guild was pretty crap. And I was not the only one who was causing them problems. Oh, that's a good thing. That's actually the best thing for you, is being a guild where you can make mistakes. That's fine. Right? You're getting all your learning done. There's nothing wrong with that. Being your first guild being dog crap is fine. You can all make mistakes. Once we got the spreading tactic locked down, it was actually not that bad. Unless, of course, the main tank just died because healers ran out of mana. Naturally, I was then introduced to an ability that I had left in my spellbook called Innovate. I had forgotten about this ability. Until somebody started spamming Innovate. So I remembered it was my spell. I quickly answered, for sure, and innovated myself. Amazing. Just amazing. Oh, yeah! Innovate, dude! Innovate's a well good spell. Innovate! Innovate! Oh, Jesus Christ, this guy. You can't... I tell you what, if this guy was in my raid, I'd have been laughing hysterically. I wouldn't have even been mad. I'm like, this is amazing. This is so good. I don't remember, really. But I do not think that I even noticed that I managed to cast it on myself most of the time. The only thing I know was that I now had loads of mana again. I could do more DPS. Yes! Dude, this is awesome, this Innovate spell. It's so good. I can do way more damage now. Thanks for reminding me, healers. You guys are the real MVPs. Yeah? Part of my DPS is owed to you guys. So that's what I did. I started teaching that boss a pure lesson in DPS. But he was having none of it. He turned around, looked straight at me, and decided to have a chat with my face. As that massive pile of muscle started walking towards me, all I could scream was, taunt! 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 Gruul didn't care. He came and slapped the death out of me. I guess it probably looked funny looking at Gruul running after one fat flappy chicken as it was desperately trying to survive. People did start laughing, so I hoped that I would not be in too much trouble. Especially since this was our best pull so far, and it did look like our team could maybe kill this boss. But our raid leader was not laughing. He changed my guild note to Mascot. The raid leader's name was Walladoo. Looking back, he probably wanted to humiliate me or something. But at the age of 14, I thought mascots were cool. I loved seeing my favorite team's mascots at the games, and they were all literally can't even abuse you. Literally can't even abuse you. I'm the mascot. That's it. I'm the king, dude. I'm the king. And I also thought, if I'm the mascot, they'll probably give me more purples. So I'll stick with this team now. Nice. Nice. But honestly, I believe that my damage was probably okay. Although I would always struggle with threat no matter which raid it was. Clueless and happy. Not dumb. He's done some learning. Clueless and happy. I then went on to continue in Karazhan with them. We would have 2 separate Karazhan groups like pro guilds. Whoa. Wait. 2 Karazhan groups? What are we, Nylum? Whoa. You want to pop your brakes there, kid? 2? Whoa. Whew. I was placed into the same group as Walladoo. Every time I managed to pull aggro, he would scold me with remarks like, "Why are the mobs even angry at you? You're nothing but a mascot." But I could take a hit. It didn't really matter to me. After all, I got back at him by spamming him with requests to pull my alts through dungeons, and I would make new alts weekly and ask them to be invited to the guild. Oh my god. I often wouldn't level them and just delete them after a while and replace them if I didn't like the name. You're banned. You're fucking banned. You're banned. You're banned. You're banned from the guild. That's it. You're gone. No, I'm not doing that every few days. I would always get into the groups because he felt he needed a druid in his Karazhan raid group. Now that I think about it, I think I might have overdone it a bit. Nah. At some point during my alt runs, I would throw in some bad remarks how this run was slower than with an actual pug, and that his pet would always do more damage than him. Yes, he was a hunter. I was too stupid to realize it back then, but making fun of your raid leader isn't usually a good idea, especially if you do it so much that he becomes your enemy. Oh. And surely enough, soon the fun of the mascot came to an end. Oh, he crossed the line. I'm not sure how the discussion came up. It was probably one of the mages for getting his butt hurt cream. But the topic of fair loot distribution came up. It would seem that some of our warlocks, mages, and priests didn't find it fair that as a moonkin, I was allowed to bid on cloth spell damage gear and not just leather. They started saying weird stuff like he wears leather. We can't bid on leather. It's unfair. Which I guess would be fair if there was actually any good leather. There was only 2 that were worth having that had spell damage on it. He's right. They did not itemize Moonkids properly. It's not his fault. In any reasonable discussion, it would be easy to argue in favor of an exception, as I would otherwise have no way of getting any gear. But this was no longer a fair playing field. Walladoo started agreeing with the casters, and I was about to be completely lootless, or at least barred until everybody else had the items they wanted. The only thing that saved me was that the rest of the raid actually agreed with me, saying, how can we have a Moonkin in the raid team and deny him the gear he needs? Especially when he's a fluffy, nature-loving wannabe mage. True, you invited a Moonkin, you know what comes with that. Walladoo reluctantly agreed, but decided to put an exception on my bids as I was locked and only allowed to bid on pieces of gear if no one else wanted it. Or, if I wanted it and another cloth wearer also wanted it, I was to be charged double the price. That is not fair. That's not fair. I don't understand how the second condition was supposed to work, so I came to terms with getting everything last. This did make me angry. Here we have these trashy casters that couldn't pull threat if they tried. It's not a good thing. Pulling aggro is not a sign of your awesome DPS. Jesus Christ. I am doing sick DPS, mate. Look how much aggro I pull. And then there's me, the absolute unit of an owl, bestowing tons of damage upon my enemies. You guys probably think that I am like ad-libbing this. I am not. I'm just going to copy paste this. That is word for word what the author typed. The absolute unit of an owl bestowing tons of damage upon my enemies. I was doing really solid deeps. I even went further to upgrade my UI to include a threat meter. Wow. That's pretty awesome. You're like, that's pretty sick. That's pretty sick. I didn't use it, obviously. But from then on, have you installed a threat meter? Yeah. Yeah, I have. What do you want to say? But from then on, I was never going to get back on the good side of our raid leader, Walladoo. I'm not sure if I was ever really on his good side. He probably always hated me or thought I was some kind of joke, but whatever. Some time had passed, and it was time to start progressing the new I-Raid. New raid, new epics, I thought to myself. But obviously, I couldn't get fully excited because no matter what gear dropped, no matter what bosses we killed, I had no chance of getting it until much later in the tier. It weighed heavily on me, and it drained a lot of fun out of the game for me. But it was my first guild. I liked some of the people, so the thought of leaving never really even occurred to me. On one fateful raid night, we were again deep in that instance and were slapping some bosses. I let myself go a few times and pulled threat when I wasn't supposed to. At this point, it was hard for me to care, and when Walladoo started one of his usual remarks towards me, I was immune to it. But to be fair, I think he had particularly bad mood this particular night, and I cannot tell why. Maybe it was that time of the month. At one point, he got so angry with me that he pulled aggro himself and died, while he was ranting at me about pulling aggro. Unlucky. I think we all know the Owlkin that has have the same dance as ogres. And there was one particular part in the dance that looks like something else. So I got to work while his corpse was lying on the floor. His corpse had fallen to the perfect height. It was as if the stars aligned and it was meant to be. I got behind his corpse and did the slash dance. In my defense, ladies and gentlemen, the whole raid was laughing. But just as before, Walladoo was not. At that point, I planned to also type in chat, "Who's the mascot now?" while simulating his anal gouging. But then something unexpected happened. Before I could even finish typing my cutting remark, I was kicked from the guild in the raid. I swear to God, he did it so fast he would have had a macro ready for this situation. As I was standing there, surrounded by my now ex-guildies, I felt empty. I realised I kind of enjoyed being the little mascot. Maybe it's not only about the loot. Maybe I enjoyed getting the loot last just so I could play with these guys. This was my first guild. These are the guys who had taught me a lot about the game. I understood stuff now. But when the timer on my screen ran out, I was teleported out. I couldn't literally think of nothing I wanted to do in the game anymore. And so I just turned WoW off. I did not log back onto World of Warcraft for an extremely long time. Until at least the next expansion. I had a look at Wrath of the Lich King briefly and had some fun there, but that's another tale. I think being kicked from that guild and losing that spot spoiled the whole game for me. But I can tell you eventually as I got older, I did get back into it after reflecting on my personal sacrifices. Thank you for listening to this story. I hope you all enjoyed it. Oh, what a sad ending. You were trash, though. So, I mean, it doesn't sound like anybody reached out to you from that guild to say, I'll try and talk to him or anything. I think everybody was glad you were gone. I think everybody was glad. Not one whisper, nothing. I liked it, you know, nothing from that. I think everybody was like, oh, thank God. Too innocent to be guilty. That's a good way of putting it. That's a good way of putting it. Oh, that's so sad. But that does bring us to the end of drama for today. I can hear that the children are here, and it's time for me to go and be Mr. Parents for a few hours. But we will be back tomorrow. We will have a stream. It'll be late on, like 5, 6 o'clock, something like that, probably. Well, we'll do a little cooking stream. We'll play a little Resident Evil. It'll be a chill Saturday night stream. We might have a couple of beers as well. I think there's a couple of beers in. Sounds like we'll have a beer night. So we might chill in FF14 or something. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But other than that, be awesome, everybody. Thank you for tuning in with us this week. I hope you've all had a good time. And we'll be 100% back on Monday. So have a great weekend, everybody. I'll see you again. Bye.